Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. As promised, it is time for my first predictions video. SummerSlam is this Sunday, and I went ahead and jumped on to WWE.com, and even though it was a royal pain in the ass to find this, because they can't just be cool and post the full card. No. I had to go into, they have their own little predictions article, basically, which is broken into like a dozen different parts. But yeah, found the full show card, and I found all of that stuff, and I also have written down some things that are possible and or / probable. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. As I said, this is for SummerSlam this Sunday. Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, man. The kickoff, which for this pay-per-view is going to be an hour long, not just a half an hour. They have said this a couple of times. I don't know if I mentioned it at all during any of the other rants, but yeah, it's an hour long. And the one match that they have promised for the pre-show, the kickoff, is Rob Van Dam versus Dean Ambrose for the United States title. This match, I'm looking forward to it, which is funny because normally the kickoff matches tend to suck. The only reason I'm really looking forward to this one is because it's Ambrose. Anything involving the Shield is interesting to me. I like those guys. They've been getting buried lately, and I don't like that. But this stems from the fact that the Shield, along with the Wyatt family and some other things, have basically been pet projects of Triple H. Triple H is not really the head of creative. We know that's Stephanie. But he's been taking more control over the backstage dealings in the WWE. And yeah, so Triple H's first venture was Sin Cara, which we all know how hard he flopped. The guy kept getting injured, he kept botching, he can't talk, he doesn't speak English. So it's impossible to have a feud with this guy. How can you have a feud when he can't cut promos? All he can do is point at people and just kind of grunt. He's like Hornswoggle, before Hornswoggle got the ability to talk. And that right there could possibly be the subject for another rant for another day, but I think we'll just ignore that one. Right, so RVD versus Ambrose for the U.S. title. Again, this match seems interesting. I think it's going to be at least a decent match. They have an hour on the kickoff, so I'm sure they have plenty of time to give these two a decent match. 10-15 minutes or such, something like that, be a good match. My prediction would be Ambrose going over, Ambrose to retain. And the reason why I would predict this is because RVD's been in the company, a month? Maybe a month and a half? I think it's entirely too early to give him any title. Not only that, but the Shield needs to continue to look strong. Otherwise, and I know I just got done saying the Shield's basically been put on the back burner here lately. They lost that match on SmackDown, and yeah. But yes, I am predicting Ambrose to retain here by hook or by crook, whether it's through interference through the other two members of the Shield, or whether he can beat RVD clean. I could actually see, since Ambrose got nailed with the 5-star on SmackDown, I could see him countering it. He gets the knees up, Rob crushes his guts on the down, like I said, Ambrose gets his knees up. Rob crushes his guts whether he hits it or not. So, if Ambrose gets his knees out, Van Dam is out. Ambrose could pick him up, hit the headlock driver, whatever the hell he calls it, just plant him on his head, and RVD's really good at selling head bumps. So, Yeah, I think that would look pretty good. Pick him up, headlock driver, bada bing, 1, 2, 3. Match over, Ambrose retains. Could be nice and clean. However, what I think is a little bit more likely is there will be interference from Rollins and Reigns, the other two members of the Shield, and then Henry and the Big Show will probably come out, and they'll probably end up making another 6-man tag match for later on, probably during the actual pay-per-view, which would probably be the smartest way to do it, because honestly, this title match, it's a title match. It should be on the actual pay-per-view. It's honestly completely dumb to keep having title matches on your pre-show. Seriously. I saw this other match. Alright, I'm not really done with the thing here. I could see the interference happening, and they could either, go with another 6-man rematch from SmackDown and have that on the pay-per-view, or what they could possibly do is have, book for later on, Rollins and Reigns to defend the tag titles against Henry and Big Show. They might go with that. I'm not really sure. And either one of those, I really don't know who it would go to. If they would do the 6-man, it really doesn't matter who wins. So they'd probably end up having the Shield lose again. Stupidly. If they go with the tag title defense, I really can't see them giving Mark Henry and the Big Show the tag titles. The two of them have not really been established as an actual tag team. But then again, the WWE's really bad about, here's two guys, and all of a sudden they win the tag titles. It's not like they're established or anything, But they've done that before, so, Anyways, the second match that I saw was confirmed for the pay-per-view. I'm not sure if this is actually going to be part of the pay-per-view, or if it's going to be on the kickoff. Like I said, they have an hour for the kickoff, so there's plenty of time for this. And they've already announced the kickoff panel. They have the little panel, the people who talk. Shawn Michaels is supposed to be part of that. I can't remember the other people they had for it. But Shawn Michaels is going to be on the pre-show panel, the kickoff panel, whatever you want to call it. And, of course, we will hear from him periodically during the pay-per-view, and, of course, all the other members of the panel. Whatever. But, like I said, one of the matches they have confirmed. Like I said, I don't know if it's part of the kickoff or if it's part of the actual pay-per-view, but they have confirmed Natalya versus Brie Bella. Now, we've seen the backstage segments, so obviously they've at least built up to this match, Natalya got slapped, Brie got slapped back, yada yada yada. I don't really think anybody gives a shit, there's nothing on the line, but I guess they figured since we're not going to have a Divas title match, because AJ and Caitlyn are both in the intergender match later on, we might as well just have a solo Divas match. So yeah, Natalya versus Brie Bella. This one doesn't really matter. So it doesn't really matter who wins. But I would hope that they would have Natalya win. But considering how they normally bury her, they probably won't. Brie will probably win. Twin Magic, Nikki will probably be there as well. I thought they were going to do like a 6 Divas tag match, like Natalya and the Funkadactyls versus the Bellas and Eva Marie, since that was sort of what they teased with all 6 of them backstage the other show. I don't remember which show that was. But again, doesn't really matter who wins. There's no title on the line. Nothing really is on the line, so who cares? This is the problem with the Divas division. When you have them on a pay-per-view match, there needs to be something at stake. Something on the line. There needs to be a reason, a good reason, not just, ooh, she slapped me, ooh, I slapped her back, boo-hoo, cry, and we have a match. No. The Divas division is so bad right now. You have 3 good Divas. The rest of them are either worthless or just barely passable. We either need to find some new divas. We've got a couple that are at least decent that are waiting in the wings in NXT. Paige is ready to come up. For God's sake, bring her up already. We need some new blood in the Divas division. We need a real female wrestler. Somebody who can actually go. Somebody who has charisma, can cut promos. Hardly any of the girls in the Divas division have that. It's terrible. I digress. Natalya and Brie Bella. The next match, which I already kind of spoke about, is the mixed, the intergender tag team match, Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn versus AJ and Big E Langston. Now, once again, there's nothing on the line here, so it really doesn't matter who wins. But I'm really hoping this is going to be the end of the feud between Ziggler and AJ, because Ziggler needs to move on to bigger and better things. He needs to get back in the world title hunt, or even possibly, if they want to be really cool, they could put him into the WWE title hunt. That would be great. But, you know, I might as well ask for a fucking miracle at this point, because that's probably not going to happen. World title would probably be about right. Let's build him up a little bit more, give him the world title, give him a good reign this time. And we'll get to the world title in a little bit, but, yeah. But yeah, so we have that match. Hopefully Ziggler and Caitlyn will win, and hopefully that will also end the feud between Caitlyn and AJ, because it's getting old at this point. They've had 2-3 matches for the Divas title. AJ has won every single one of them, so it's done. AJ has won. Have her move on, whatever the fuck. We need a new challenger for her. Hopefully this is where they will bring in Paige. Because none of the other girls in the Divas division right now, none of them can really lay any sort of claim to being worthy of a Divas championship match. Because AJ's beaten Natalya. Layla and AJ are friends now, so there's no reason for them to feud. I mean, unless Layla wants to be a total bitch and say, you know what, I don't really want to be friends with AJ, I just used her to get close to the damn Divas title and get that attention that she so much wanted and everything. Whatever the fuck. I don't know. But yeah, if this is where they debut Paige, they can use that to say, okay, here's this new girl. She can run through all the competition because there's not a whole lot of frickin' competition. The Funkadactyls suck. The Bellas, just barely passable. Paige could flatline them both. Natalya has been buried so much, I hate to say it, but even though that would actually be a good match if they would put it on pay-per-view and have like a good feud to it, or a good build, it would actually be a good match. Natalya and Paige, that would be a damn good match. But anyways, so there's that one. The next match on the card here for SummerSlam, and they've built up to this, Cody Rhodes versus Damian Sandow. Now, there are no stipulations to this match, not that I know of. I didn't see anything on the WWE website. There really should be something, though. I don't know if I would put the actual Money in the Bank briefcase and contract on the line, but I think some sort of stipulation. Say, if Damian wins, Cody can no longer interfere in Damian trying to cash in. He's completely barred. He will not be allowed. If he interferes in any way, he will either be fired or suspended or just have somebody beat the bloody hell out of him. I don't know. But yeah, you could put that as the stipulation. And if Cody wins, say you know what? You get the briefcase. You get the contract. I don't know. Something like that. Maybe just say, no matter what, whoever wins, you get the damn contract. I don't know. Like I said, there isn't actually any stipulation for this match that I know of, and so hence there's really nothing on the line aside from if Cody wins. I'm sure he will continue to mess with Sandow and try to prevent him from cashing in and winning the world title. like a dick. Anyways, so again, it doesn't really matter who wins this match. I'm hoping Sandow wins. I'm hoping Sandow, just fueled with a blind rage, just beats the ever-loving shit out of Cody Rhodes. Beats him to a bloody frickin' pulp. Beat that little punk to within an inch of his life and just tell him, you screw with me again? You stop me from cashing in this damn contract again? I will kill you. I'm sick to death of seeing Rhodes thinking he deserves that fucking contract. You don't. You're a fuck-up. You suck. Piss off. Let Sandow cash the fucking briefcase in. This feud needs to end. You got double-crossed by somebody who's smarter than you. It's your own fault for being a jackass and being too trusting, okay? Fuck off. I really hope Sandow beats the bloody hell out of Rhodes in this match. I hope it's not even a match. I hope Sandow just comes out, beats the hell out of Cody Rhodes, the bell never rings, Cody gets carted out on a stretcher because he's bleeding from his head. I really hope so. But I doubt that. That would imply that Cody would have to blade, and I doubt they'd have anybody actually blade. It's still all PG, we can't have blood, unless it's Hardway. Fucking... And don't even give me this shit, nobody's willing to blade. There are plenty of people that are willing to blade. I know Punk will. He's done it before. Lesnar probably will, although I think he's been busted open Hardway a couple of times. Daniel Bryan is definitely willing to do it. John Cena has done it in the past. I don't see why he wouldn't be willing to do it again. I don't know. But anyways, again, I digress. Moving on to the next match. The next one we have on the card is, of course, Kane versus Bray Wyatt, the Ring of Fire match. Now, this is essentially an Inferno match. The only difference is you don't have to light your opponent on fire to win. That's not the point of the match. From what I can gather, it's basically just a regular match, just with the outside edge of the ring on fire, just like an Inferno match. The whole point of it is to just try to make sure that nobody can interfere in the match. So Wyatt's little punk bitch helpers can't come in and interfere. And of course, you know, the whole build to the match is, of course, Harper and Rowan have been distracting Kane, you know, so Bray can get in his little hits and everything. Again, I'm hoping Kane absolutely destroys Wyatt in this match. But considering Wyatt and his stupid little bitches are one of Triple H's pet projects, something tells me Wyatt's going over. That will be my official prediction. Wyatt to go over here. Yeah, I know, this isn't really shaping up to be much of a prediction. I haven't really gone with any official predictions. Well, like I said, officially I will predict Ambrose to retain the U.S. title. I'd probably bet that Brie is going to beat Natalya. Ziggler and Caitlyn, I would hope they win. That'll be my prediction there. Sandow, hopefully, will beat Rhodes. My prediction there. And again, Wyatt, I will predict to beat Kane. As much as I hate to actually predict that shithead to actually win, honestly, that's what I see happening. Don't see one of Triple H's little pet projects that he actually cares about anymore, at least, not going over. And Kane's basically made a career out of putting people over. So, there you go. Next match on the list, CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar, the big grudge match. Again, there's nothing really on the line here. There's no titles on the line. It's just a grudge match. These two don't like each other, and Punk really wants to get to Paul Heyman. He has to go through Brock to do that, though. And so, but with all the build, everything sort of going back and forth, I'm predicting Punk to win this one. After all the build, I can't see Lesnar winning. Lesnar still got beat by Triple H at Mania, and yeah, he got the win back at the other pay-per-view. I don't remember which one it was, but that was whatever, and who gives a fuck. I'm predicting Punk to win this one. He's gonna win, and hopefully this will be the last we see of Brock for a while. I'm tired of him. I never really liked Brock all that much to begin with, even when he originally came into the company. He's a big, roided up muscle head. He's just a big hoss. He can't cut promos. He's got hardly any charisma. That's why they have Heyman talk for him. They had Heyman talk for him in the beginning when he first came into the company. He can't cut promos. He has a really weak voice for a guy so big. Anyways, again, I digress. Punk, I'm going to predict to go over in this match. Up next, I really doubt this is the actual official order the matches will come in, but this is the way the article was. So it might be the official order, I don't know. But anyways, up next, the World Heavyweight Championship match. Alberto Del Rio defending against Christian. Now, as I said in my SmackDown video, when you make a guy look good in the couple of weeks before a pay-per-view, it's generally the train of logic goes like this. You make him look good just for him to lose at the pay-per-view. Christian beat Del Rio in the non-title match on Raw. I think that was Raw. And then on SmackDown, Christian won his match against Sandow, only to be attacked by Del Rio, but still turn the tides and leave Del Rio face down after a kill switch. So Christian was still made to look good, to go over. So, as much as I hate to say it, I think Del Rio's winning this one. He'll heal it up, he'll cheat his ass off. Although, I could kind of see Ricardo Rodriguez coming out of nowhere and costing Del Rio the match, and hence the title. If only just to get Del Rio out of the title picture for a while, because honestly, he does not deserve to be anywhere near that fucking title. He's not good enough to warrant being World Heavyweight Champion, or WWE Champion for that matter. So Christian might... I really don't know how this would go. Something tells me Ricardo might get involved. He might. I really don't know. I'm not even sure if Ricardo even still works for the company. I haven't heard any news about him being released, so I don't know. But really don't know how this one is going to go. Like I said, I'm leaning towards Del Rio retaining, just because they keep making Christian look good and, you know, whatever. Plus, it would also be good for Del Rio to hang on to the title, just so when Ziggler finally gets done with AJ and Big E, hopefully Ziggler, like I said, will go back towards the World Heavyweight title picture, and him and Del Rio can finish what they started, because they never really finished it off. AJ costed Ziggler the match and the world title, and that's what started the feud between Ziggler and AJ and Big E. And so Ziggler never really got to finish with Del Rio. So hopefully what they'll do is they'll have Del Rio retain, have Ziggler come back to challenge for the title again, and then have Ziggler finally go over definitively without AJ and Big E interfering. Whatever. Hopefully by then AJ will be too preoccupied by Paige. We'll have to see. Anyways, so that's the World Heavyweight title match. The last one that they showed on the card, of course, was the WWE title match. John Cena defending against Daniel Bryan, and Triple H will be the special guest referee. This one's really hard to predict. Super Cena hardly ever loses, but with all the build that Daniel Bryan has gotten, and I know it kind of goes against my own little precedent that I set with he gets built up before the pay-per-view just to lose at the pay-per-view, but that's only like when a guy just gets a couple of weeks worth of build. They have been building Daniel Bryan up for freaking months. Months. He's been on a winning streak. You know, aside from Raw when he got that quick count, which was bullshit. I wouldn't even count that. But every other match, win after win after win. He has been on a roll. He is, JBL keeps saying he's on such a hot streak, on one of the biggest rolls anybody's been on in the last few years, This guy is on fire. So it's going to be pretty hard to stop him. Plus, Cena apparently has something wrong with one of his elbows. I don't know if I mentioned it. It was during one of his promos on Raw. He talked about he pulls his elbow up and he shows that there's this big knot or something sticking out of his elbow. He says, my elbow looks like a football. And it did. It had like this football kind of shaped knot sticking off the edge. And I'm like, damn, what the hell happened to your elbow, man? So something apparently happened to Cena's elbow. And Bryan, being the submission specialist that he is, could work the arm, the elbow. I could see him busting out the cattle mutilation during this match, and I could even see Cena tapping out to that if Bryan works it the whole match and wears it down and then locks in the cattle mutilation, and Cena might have no choice but to tap out. And Bryan has even said he will make Cena tap out. So I doubt he's going to try and beat him by pin. I doubt he's going to get the cheap win with the headbutt or some lame roll-up or whatever. But Triple H is going to be the special referee. He's the only wild card. Because Triple H, even though he's been completely behind Bryan this whole time, the guy's a schemer. He will work somebody just to screw him over at the last second. So Triple H could potentially, kick Bryan in the balls and give him a pedigree and let Cena pin him. Or, God only knows. I really don't know what'll go on with this. Honestly, this is a match that I don't know. This is the one match that I really can't predict an official finish for this match. It could go one of so many different ways. Either they'll do the predictable thing and Cena will win, like he fucking always does. Super Cena triumphs once again, and all the little kids can cheer for him. Even though it's not like he's facing a big heel, Bryan is a huge face. He's even more over than Cena is. And something tells me, in LA, he's probably going to get booed out of the building, Cena, and Bryan's going to get a huge pop. And if Cena wins, they're probably going to boo him out of the fucking building if Cena wins. So it would probably be a really bad idea to do that. But God knows it's the WWE. They love having Cena as champ. Christ. But either Cena could win clean like he always does, or Bryan could end up winning by submission clean. I could see that happening. It's far-fetched, but the way this whole feud has been going, the way this whole thing with McMahon and Triple H getting involved, I really don't know how this one's going to end. But something tells me no matter who wins, they've teased it 3-4 times already, something tells me that no matter who wins, Randy Orton's going to come out, clobber him with his briefcase, cash in the damn thing on him, and Randy will probably walk out as WWE Champion. And he may even be backed by Vince, because Vince has already said he doesn't really want Cena to be WWE Champion, but he doesn't want Bryan to be champion even more. So Vince may even pay Randy Orton a crapload of money to cash in and guarantee that he can beat whoever it is that wins the match, be it Bryan or Cena. Now, this would be a big heel turn for Randy if... but they've been kind of teasing a heel turn with Randy for a while. So, not only that, but Sandow could potentially cash in on whoever wins between Del Rio and Christian. That is, of course, if Rhodes will kindly keep his fucking nose out of it. See, this is why I wanted Sandow to just beat the bloody hell out of Rhodes. Hospitalize that little fuck. Put him into a position where he cannot interfere. Send his ass to the hospital so he can't interfere in the match. And then cash in on either Del Rio or Christian, whoever wins. And we could have Sandow walking out as World Heavyweight Champion. This could be the night of 2 Money in the Bank cash-ins. I don't think we've ever had that before. 2 Money in the Banks cashed in on the same night. So they might go for that just for the historical value. You know, we had 2 guys cash in the same night. You know, that's pretty cool. That would be interesting if they did that, even if one of them was to lose, which they may do that, even though they always like to hype up that, you know, damn near everyone who cashes in the Money in the Bank ends up becoming champion. But yeah, there's my predictions for SummerSlam. Again, I'm really hoping for Bryan to win the WWE title. He deserves it. He's worked his freaking ass off, and he deserves it. My only hope is that Bryan wins and is still, you know, fresh enough to fight off Randy if Randy should try to cash in. Because if Bryan wins, I don't want it being ruined by them having Randy try and cash in. At least let Bryan keep the damn title for a couple of weeks, or a month, or maybe a couple of months, and then let Randy cash in on him a couple of months down the line. I don't know. But yeah, there's the card for SummerSlam, or at least the official card. They may end up adding, like I said, the 6-man match with the Shield, or possibly a tag title defense. The cash-ins are possible. And other than that, like I said, those were my predictions. I wanted to add a little extra stuff on the end of this, but I think I might make it into a whole nother separate video by itself, because I think this one's gone on a little too long as it is. I don't know. Yeah, tell you what, I'll just have it be in this video and not waste time uploading 2 videos. Because uploading them takes a while, especially on my computer. Other than the SummerSlam predictions, I wanted to talk about TNA a little bit. This is absolutely stupid. So, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the other week, I watched TNA Impact. I think I did mention this in one of the other rants. They had been hyping up this August 1 debut. Some guy who was apparently not... He didn't work for Spike TV, he doesn't work for TNA. Just some new guy they were going to debut, and he wanted to make his presence known. He wanted to, whatever the fuck. It turns out, on the August 1st episode, which was like 2 weeks ago, it turns out that it was Tito Ortiz. Washed up MMA guy who has nothing to do with pro wrestling. Why they waste money on this guy? Hell if I know. Dixie's a moron, that's all I know for sure. And so are Hogan and Bischoff. So they bring in Tito Ortiz after releasing a couple of other, actual wrestlers, by the way. So they bring him in. And his debut is so weak, so pathetic. There was a brawl going on between the Main Event Mafia and the Aces and Eights. And all of a sudden, the lights go out and there's this music. And when the lights come back on, Out comes Tito Ortiz. He gets to the end of the ramp, the entranceway. It's not even a ramp. It's a flat platform that goes from the stage to the ring. Because in TNA, they have this retarded notion. It's probably for Hogan because his hips are so shit he can't walk down a ramp. It's a flat box, a rectangular box that extends all the way from the edge of the ring all the way up to the edge of the stage. And it's flat. He comes all the way down this thing. He gets close to the ring. And he just kind of stands there with his arms crossed. He doesn't do shit. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there with his arms crossed, looking like a numbnut. Whatever the hell. That was his debut. I don't know what happened the week after because I wasted 2 hours of my life watching that shit then. I wasn't going to do it again 2 weeks in a row, so I skipped the week after that. But yesterday, they did their episode of Impact for yesterday, Thursday, and this also happened to be their Hardcore Justice Impact, because TNA's getting, they're dropping a couple of their pay-per-views from their schedule. So they just decide, okay, we'll do special episodes of Impact on TV, and it'll be the pay-per-views, basically. Yeah. So last night was their Hardcore Justice pay-per-view. There were a couple of other matches on the card. I can't remember any of them because I didn't see the show. But one thing I did happen to see is they had a steel cage match for the World Heavyweight title. It was Chris Sabin, the champion, defending against Bully Ray, the former champion. The finish of the match, I believe the Aces and Eights had interfered in some way. Don't really know how, but the main event Mafia, I guess, came out and chased them off. But Rampage Jackson, who's one of the, yes, another MMA guy who they've wasted money on, he was still standing by the door of the cage, which was right over by where the platform ramp thing is. And he's just sort of standing there watching the door. And out of nowhere comes Tito Ortiz with this big fucking hammer. It's not a sledgehammer, but it's pretty damn close. It's got a much shorter handle and a smaller head on it, but it was this big friggin' hammer. And he just full-on swings this thing and cracks Jackson upside the head with it. Now, it looked like he kind of pulled it, but Jackson went down in a heap, fell off the ramp platform thing, and he was dead. Just laid out cold. He was dead. So Ortiz just blasted his brains out with his hammer thing. And I'm trying to remember. I think that distraction was enough to distract Sabin in the ring long enough. I guess Bully Ray was down. And he gets up, he grabs Sabin, turns him around, throws him into the side of the cage on the other side of the ring. And this, of course, disorients him, so you get thrown into a cage. He bends him over and power bombs him. And apparently this is the Bully Bomb. He power bombs him and holds it into a pin. And he gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. So we have new TNA World Heavyweight Champion Bully Ray, which means, because of TNA's retarded-ass logic, the power and control now shifts back to the Aces and Eights. I don't understand how having the world title gives anybody power. Retarded-ass TNA logic. TNA is a company with such great potential. They have so many good wrestlers. And they actually have a decent Divas division, or at least they did for a while. It's not so great anymore nowadays, because some of the good female wrestlers they had decided to leave because of how crappy they were treated. Which, again, is smart on their move. But TNA has so much potential. But every time they take one step forward, they shoot themselves in the foot and they take 3 steps back. It's just pathetic at this point. I can't stand how badly they booked this crap. Not only all that, but they were hyping up to this big 5-on-5 tag team match between the Aces and Eights and the Main Event Mafia. And the stipulation, this is going to be at the next actual pay-per-view, I believe. Either that or it's going to be the next episode of Impact. I'm not really sure. TNA is really bad about booking shit like this. They give away pay-per-view stuff on free TV. They give away pay-per-view matches on Impact. Idiots. But yeah, they had this big 5-on-5 tag team match booked, and the stipulation was whoever takes the fall for their team, whoever loses the match for their team, their career in TNA is over. So it's a career-ending match for whoever takes the fall. So, but yeah, it was going to be 5-on-5, but also at the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view Impact, whatever the fuck, Dixie Carter comes out with the 4 members of the Main Event Mafia who are left, and she announces that Kurt Angle, who is one of the members of the Main Event Mafia, or was, but he had to go into rehab. Now this is real life stuff. He had to go into rehab because he got busted another DUI charge. He's really bad at this. He's been busted so many times for DUI while he's been in TNA. They might want to just cut their losses with this guy. I've never liked Kurt Angle either. You can say he's a good wrestler. I don't see it. Being a good Olympic-class wrestler doesn't always translate into being a good pro wrestler. Quite frankly, I find the guy boring as hell, and he's got hardly any charisma or mic skills. He can't hardly cut promos. He's boring as hell, in the ring and on the mic. I don't see it. I don't see him being a good wrestler. At least not a pro wrestler. He might be a good amateur Olympic class wrestler. God knows the guy won an Olympic gold medal with a broken neck. So, I'm sure he's good at Olympic wrestling. Which is funny because, if I'm not too badly mistaken, they actually took wrestling out of the Olympics. And they were actually doing videos to, like, petition to have them bring it back. Don't care. Amateur style wrestling is boring. It might be real, but it's boring. Anyways. But yeah, Dixie came out and announced Kurt Angle had to go into retirement. Or not retirement. I wish he'd go into retirement. That would be great. No, but she announced that he had to go into rehab. And so the Mafia now are down a member for this 5-on-5 tag team match. So they need to come up with a partner. And I'm not sure if it was already announced, but I think they've said that AJ Styles is going to be their partner. Which is weird because AJ was off doing his own thing. He didn't want to play the hero anymore. He had somewhat turned heel and, like, he didn't want to be in the Mafia. He didn't want to be the hero for TNA to fight the Aces and Eights. And they went and screwed that up by giving it to Sabin anyways. Now, I'm not saying anything about Sabin. I like Sabin. He's good. I just don't know if this was the right spot for him. Like I said, it seemed like they were building it up to be AJ, you know. Of course, AJ was going to be the Sting. Because this whole Aces and Eights thing is just a complete rip-off of the NWO storyline from WCW. And Sting was the hero then, so I figured they were doing AJ as the hero here now. But no. AJ goes off. He don't want to be the hero. He wants to grow out his 5 o'clock shadow and wear his little, wear his hoodie jacket and be all emo and shit. Again, I like AJ too. Great wrestler. Decent at promos, but this gimmick they gave him just sucks. And before that, he was doing nothing feuding with Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, that whole god-awful storyline with Claire Lynch. I'm about to throw up just mentioning that shit. I'm just gonna move on. I have to scrub my brain with bleach to get that thought out of my head. I think that's really all I wanted to talk about, though. They shoot themselves in the foot again by giving the title back to piece of shit Bully Ray, and hence giving the power back to the Aces and Eights. This is so stupid, this idea that titles equal power. No, they don't. Whoever runs the company can strip whoever the fuck they want of the damn titles whenever they want if they're becoming too much of a pain in the ass. And that's exactly what I would do. Dixie should come out and say, you know what, Bully, you're too much of a headache. Not only are you stripped of the fucking title, you're fired. Get the fuck out of my company. Fuck them. Everybody in the Aces and Eights, aside from Mr. Anderson, everybody else in that group is worthless. You have Wes Briscoe. He's a fucking nobody. I don't even think I've seen him in the ring. He's probably not all that good. Not everybody from the Briscoe family is going to be good. You've got him. You've got Mr. Anderson. I like Mr. Anderson, but since he's been with the Aces and Eights, shit. Who else? You've got, I believe it's Mike Knox. He goes by the name of Nux. He was never even all that good, even in the WWE. So, worthless. Who else? You've got Garrett Bischoff. Yeah, Eric Bischoff's son. You know, because... seriously? Haven't seen much of him in the ring, but from what I've heard, he's awful. And he can't talk for shit either. You've got Briscoe, you've got Bischoff, you've got Nux, and you've got Mr. Anderson, and that's 4 of them. Who the hell is the 5th member? It's not... Bully Ray is the president of the Aces and Eights, but he wasn't the 5th member that's going to be in that tag match with the Main Event Mafia, because Bully Ray is above that, and they don't want to risk him, losing his career, even though they might as well, because he sucks anyways. The 5th member of the Aces and Eights. Oh yeah, Devon. Yeah, Devon is there too. Who gives a fuck? He's pretty much worthless too. So whatever. Yeah, you could pretty much fire everybody in the Aces and Eights, with maybe the exception of Mr. Anderson, and nothing of value would be lost. So, yeah. But I suppose that wraps it up for this episode of the show. I don't think there's really anything else I wanted to talk about. I did my predictions. I talked about god-awful TNA bringing in stupid fucking Tito Ortiz. Yeah, so Tito Ortiz basically costed Chris Sabin the World Heavyweight title. So what, are they going to try to book towards a match between Ortiz and Sabin? That's not going to fucking work. I really don't think Tito Ortiz could work a pro wrestling match with Sabin, because Sabin's an actual pro wrestler, and Ortiz is an MMA guy. He probably doesn't know how to pull his punches. He'd probably stiff the shit out of Sabin, probably break his nose, or hurt him in some other way. This is why bringing in these MMA guys is pointless. They're not going to be able to work matches. I'm guessing the only reason they did it was because, I don't know if Spike TV forced them to do it, or if they just want to hype up. Apparently coming up is a MMA fight between Rampage Jackson and Tito Ortiz. So, I'm guessing they're just hyping that bullshit up. Yeah, hype up something that's completely not related to your product. That's a good idea. And they wasted a shitload of money on both of these guys. And that's not even mentioning King Mo, who is the 3rd MMA guy that they signed a while back. And King Mo, after they signed him, he had an MMA fight where he got his ass kicked in the first round. So, yeah, real good fucking investment there, you morons. Keep wasting your money on MMA guys who have nothing to do with pro wrestling. Keep releasing good wrestlers to pay for these schmucks. You guys are fucking retarded. And there's a reason why you're still Bush League compared to the WWE. Ring of Honor is above you guys. They may not have a nationally syndicated TV show, but you know what? They kinda at least know what the fuck they're doing. Most of the time. They don't fuck up this badly. They don't hire morons who have nothing to do with pro wrestling. They don't hire worthless MMA guys. They might hire people with MMA backgrounds, but these are people that have actually still been trained to be pro wrestlers. They don't waste their time on non-pro wrestlers. Okay? Bischoff and Hogan are running TNA into the ground. At this rate, the company's going to fold within the next couple of years. And I would honestly hate to see that, because if TNA goes out of business, there won't be any real competition for the WWE. And the WWE at that point will probably get even worse. Hell, the WWE may even end up buying out TNA at that point. The only upside to that is that we might actually see some of the TNA roster end up being hired by the WWE. Like what happened with WCW, the Invasion and all that. We might get another Invasion, although it'll be a hell of a lot weaker. But anyways, yeah, I think that finally is it for this episode of the Wrestling Rant. I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I got my predictions in, talked about TNA. That was pretty much all I wanted to talk about. So, yes. SummerSlam is this Sunday. I will be watching and taking notes on it, of course. And I will have my video up for that shortly after the pay-per-view is over. So, midnight, 1 a.m., somewhere around there. Do stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening if you've actually watched all the way through. I thank you for that, by the way, if you have. That's it for this episode. Join us next time when we go over SummerSlam on Sunday. See you then.